Andres from Doble Sports, back with Mexican National Team content. In this video, I'll be giving my reactions and performance grades for the team's game against New Zealand, their first game of the September friendlies. This was also their first game with Javier Aguirre and Rafa Marquez as the coaching duo leading the team. On Saturday, September 7th, the Mexican national team won 3-0 against New Zealand in the Rose Bowl. This was Javier Aguirre's first game with the team in his third tenure as head coach for Mexico. This was also El Kaiser, Rafa Marquez's first game as the assistant coach for the team after an incredible career that saw him play as the center back for this team. Here are the team's grades for their performance in this game. Starting off with the goalkeeper, B. After an atrocious debut against Uruguay during the summer, Raúl Rangel was given a second chance against an easier opponent. This time, it was a test that would determine where he would be in Mexico's player pool. El Tala Rangel didn't have to do a lot in this game, given Mexico had ball possession for most of the game. In fact, he had a clean sheet with no saves noted, mainly because there wasn't a lot of those close chances that New Zealand created that needed him to step up. What will be key to watch going forward is how he will do against a stronger team and when he does need to make a save. However, he looked a little more confident while on the field in this game, so I'll give him a B grade. Center backs, A-. Cesar Montes and Johan Vazquez were the two starting center backs, and they had a clean game. They combined for 70 accurate passes and covered the box area well. However, I will give them A- due to Johan receiving a yellow card and the fact that this is an opponent that was not as strong as other opponents Mexico have played. Fullbacks, B+. Jesus Gallardo was the starting left back and he didn't have to defend much in this game. He had a decent game offensively with 44 accurate passes. However, he couldn't provide an assist or goal. For Gallardo, while he had a good game, the concerns of how much he can contribute offensively and if he is only good at the CONCACAF level have not gone away. Jesus Angulo came in as the substitute for Gallardo for the last 20 minutes of the game, which at that point was garbage time, and he was okay. Angulo was okay in his 20 minutes on the field. Israel Reyes was the starting right back and played the full 90 minutes. He had a clean game with 53 accurate passes and a tackle won. I am surprised that Julian Araujo was not given any playing time, and I hope Araujo gets more game minutes, especially as a starter. He is in the Premier League with Bournemouth, and I do think Araujo is the future for the team in this right-back position. Before this game against New Zealand, Reyes was the starter, and while it wasn't a phenomenal game, he did have a clean game. Reyes' performance showed two things in my opinion. First, he is better in the right back position than as a center back. And while I think Huescas and Araujo are our two right backs going forward, if one of them is injured, which in this case was Rodrigo Huescas, Reyes can be a replacement in the roster for either one of them. This leads to the second takeaway that Reyes, along with Rodrigo Huescas and Julian Araujo, are better options going forward than Jorge Sanchez. This game showed that Jorge Sanchez should frankly no longer be called up, as we have much better players to fill that right back role. Midfielders, B+. For once, the midfield actually was able to contribute and were not the weakest part of the team. Orbelin Pineda scored the first goal of the game in the 5th minute, and he later noted the assist for the third goal. Luis Romo also had a solid game with an assist for the second goal and scoring the third goal of the game off an assist from Pineda. However, it is worth noting that this New Zealand side is a weaker opponent than what Mexico faced in the Copa America. And at the same time, the substitutes in the midfield were mostly non-existent. Cordova had one shot that missed, and outside of that had a relatively quiet 30 minutes. Diego Lainez also had a quiet 30 minutes as well. And Charlie Rodriguez was Charlie Rodriguez. Non-existent and terrible. At least for Charlie, when he came in the game, it was already garbage time with Mexico winning. So his lack of good form didn't hurt the team like it did in the Copa America. It is also worth noting the big scoring opportunities the midfield missed. For example, Orbelin Pineda had a shot hit the crossbar, and Luis Romo also missed a one-on-one with the goalkeeper with his shot hitting the post as well. Those were two scoring chances that should have been goals, and it doesn't look good missing those opportunities. Luis Romo also had one of the dumbest mistakes we have seen in a while, really. He got open to receive a throw-in from Jesus Gallardo, only to receive it and immediately kick the ball out of bounds, giving the possession of the ball to New Zealand. It was a head-scratching moment that confused everyone, fans, coaches, and even the commentators on TV during the broadcast of the game. While the midfield scored goals in this game, these big errors and missed chances do lead to that one key question. Is the midfield actually improving, or is this game misleading due to facing a weaker opponent? I hope the midfield does find a way to prove me wrong and is improving, but given the missed chances in this game and Luis Romo's weird mistake, I am not fully convinced. I do think that the midfield remains a big concern, and if given the opportunity, I would like to see Aguirre bring in new players such as Fidel Ambriz or Marcel Ruiz. I do think Aguirre should call up new players and make changes in the midfield, as I still don't think players like Romo and especially Charlie are anywhere near good enough in the long run. Wingers. B. Julian Quiñones was the starter, providing good passes along with his always good dribbling skills. He was having a solid game despite not taking any shots at the goal. However, Quiñones was substituted off in the 52nd minute due to a possible cramp or muscle injury. It's not good to see, especially for a solid player like Quiñones. However, he was able to walk off the field on his own, so it is possible the injury is not really bad and he will be back soon, maybe even for the next games. Chino Huerta came in to replace Quiñones, and he came in pretty clutch, scoring the second goal for Mexico. Chino has definitely shown that he is a lethal player and has a lot more potential and better form than Uriel Antuna did. With good performances that see him score, look for him to start more games than he is right now. Strikers. B-. Santi Jimenez was the starting striker in this game. He came very close to scoring in the first half with a one-touch shot on target. However, the shot was saved by New Zealand goalkeeper Max Kokome. Credit to him, it was a good save. It is a shame Santi was subbed off, as I once again would like to see how he does with a full 90 minutes, but we didn't see that, as he was subbed off with 28 minutes left in the game for Henry Martin. Henry was present on the field, but didn't contribute anything. I understand if Aguirre took Santi off to save him, but I do wish that for once they let him play a full 90 minutes. I am also not convinced with Henry, as once again on an international stage, a stage bigger than playing with a mid-tier team with America, he vanished. As for Jimenez, with a shot on target that was stopped by a good goalkeeper block, he looked more confident on the field and had better form than the player who replaced him in this game. With Santi starting in Aguirre's first game back as the head coach, maybe this is a fresh start. You know, a clean slate for Santi Jimenez, with a coach that is willing to believe in him and trust him more than the past two coaches did. And maybe this is what Santi needed, as it will give him more confidence instead of unjust pressure every single time he steps on the field. We'll see, but I do like that he is getting more starting opportunities, and we are believing in him now as he is Mexico's future, especially in that offensive front. Coaches, B+. Javier Aguirre and Rafa Marquez put their best foot forward in this game, with the starting lineup being essentially the A team among those called up for these two games. And they got a solid result as expected of them, especially given it's against New Zealand. However, I cannot give them an A grade despite the final score being 3-0 because of the fact that Mexico entered this game as the better team, while New Zealand sits 94th in the FIFA World Rankings. I also feel Aguirre missed an opportunity to experiment in this game and try out the new players he did call up, such as Marcelo Flores, Eric Lira, and Fidel Ambriz. Instead, the coaching duo put many of the same players we have seen already on the field before in this game, resulting in Flores, Lira, Ambriz, and even Julian Araujo not getting any playing time in this game, which I do feel was very disappointing. With the coaches, while the coaches did experiment and give Raul Rangel the starting goalkeeper spot in this game, this was the time where they should have tried out the other new players called up instead of giving more minutes to Charlie, who did nothing and has been doing nothing the entire time. While it was a win, it wasn't massive, and I also want to see new players get a chance. Fans. This is a new category I'm going to be grading. The fans. A. This was yet another Mexico game being held in the United States, this time on a Saturday in the Rose Bowl in Los Angeles. The Mexican Football Federation probably thought they would see a massive turnout of over 75,000 people that would once again make them the big money while not really caring about anything else. Instead, it was one of the lowest turnouts for a Mexico game in the Rose Bowl that we have probably ever seen. It reminded me of Mexico's last two games in Las Vegas after losing the Nations League semifinal 3-0 against the United States, where the Mexico fans in Las Vegas, frustrated with the team's performance, were not wanting to go to the games, resulting in low turnout during not only the third place playoff game for the Nations League, but also the Gold Cup semifinal against Jamaica. It was really, really low turnout, and the turnout for this game at the Rose Bowl was, to make a guess based on what we saw the crowd look like on the TV, the turnout for this game at the Rose Bowl was around 24 to 28,000 people at best, with many empty seats that were noticeable during the game. This was a great thing to see. The fans not accepting the mediocre results the team and the federation have been putting up. There has been talk among Mexican fans frustrated with the team that they not only hoped Mexico would fail in the Copa America, which they did, but that the fans should do their part and not go to the games. Well, for this game in Los Angeles, where there is a big Mexican support, the fans did their part and didn't go to the game. Through their money and through their absence, their lack of turnout in the stadium, Mexican fans have spoken out and are criticizing the federation and putting pressure on them to change. Mexico fans in the United States need to keep doing this, and over time it will send a message that will force the FMF to truly change things for the better in order to keep their money-making fanbase in the States on their side. Way to go, fellow Mexico fans, and I hope they continue to do this for many of the upcoming games in the US. Overall, this was a B grade performance as a complete team for Mexico. This was a solid result and a good start to Aguirre's third tenure with the team and Rafa's first as the assistant coach. However, it is also worth noting, while this game was against a team we will likely see in the World Cup in 2026, this was against a team ranked 94th in the world, who we know Mexico is better than. This was a result fans expected from the selección against this team, and while it was a 3-0 win, the midfield still made errors and missed big scoring chances. Congrats, they won, but there's still much more to work and improve on, and it will take more to convince frustrated fans and restore la confianza that was lost. We'll see what's next and if Aguirre can restore that confianza among the fans and the Mexican Federation. Andres from Doble Sports, that is all for my grades and reactions to Mexico's win against New Zealand in their first of 2 games this September. Final score, Mexico 3, New Zealand 0. Leave a like and subscribe to support this sports passion project. And of course, feel free to leave your opinions in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.